This is episode 14 with breast cancer survivor, #1 best-selling author, and founder and CEO of the Tiger Lily Foundation, Maimah Karmo. Hi, I'm Gabrielle Jordan, young entrepreneur, #1 best-selling author, international speaker, mentor, and your proud host of the UV Effect podcast, where each week my industry-leading and thought-provoking guests and I will be sharing motivational advice, insightful tips, and inspiring stories that will help you to define your personal and professional unique value and discover the effects it can have on your life and the lives of others. So, without further ado, let's get started. And welcome to another episode of the UV Effect. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I'm really excited because I have a wonderful woman on the show, as a guest. She is incredible. I love her. She's been a mentor to me for, I want to say, since I was 11, 12 years old. She is incredible. She does so much for other people, and she's really, really developing her life and has developed her life into this incredible way of living. She's really survived a lot in her life, and to see what she's come from, what she's gone through, to where she is right now, it's empowering. I think it's empowering to anybody that hears it, and you will be hearing it today. And if you say that you are not inspired by the story, I don't know what is wrong with you, because her story is just so incredible. She is really a survivor. She's survived lightning strike. She's survived 3 wars. She's survived having breast cancer, coming to America all on her own at 15 years old. She has survived so many different things, and she's all about now manifesting a life of bliss. That is her message. That's what she's focusing on. And it is a powerful message. It really goes hand in hand with the UV effect, talking about how you have to kind of look at yourself, realize who you are, and then you use those things in order to create the life that you want to live. And that's really a huge part of the UV effect in of itself. So it's definitely a wonderful interview. You really get to hear her story, get to hear her message, learn about how to manifest a blissful life, a life that you can enjoy. And do things for yourself, but also do things for others, live for others as well. It's a powerful message that she's sharing. Another thing we talk about that I specifically related to was how when she was younger, she felt very different from others. And if you are one of those people that, even if you feel it right now, that there's just something about you that not a lot of people understand, can click with, can relate to, and because of that, it's not like you have abundant of friends, or it's because of that you're just not out there. Everybody, you don't really mesh with everybody. Not to say that you're distant, or that you're better than anybody or whatever. It's just that you feel slightly different from others. And I know I'm definitely one of those people, especially being my age and doing what I'm doing and just kind of being the person that I am. I do feel often very different from my peer group, from the people that I know, and for that reason, I'm not around a bunch of people. I'm not always just going to parties or whatever, because it's just not in me. I don't know. It's something different about me, and the way they look at life is just kind of different from others. And so if you're one of those people, you kind of feel different, you're just not like everybody, or you don't really want to be like everybody, then this definitely is a great interview for you, because it's at least to get some kind of tips that she shares about kind of really being able to embrace those differences, and also to be able to hear from somebody that can relate to you, 2 people actually that can relate to how you feel, and being motivated, being self-motivated, and wanting to see the world different ways, and doing things that are just different from other people. It's just a great interview. I think it's there's something that anybody can pull from. There's something in this interview that everybody can pull from. So definitely get out your notepad, get out your pen, your pencil, and start taking notes, because I know that you're going to enjoy this one. So without further ado, let us just jump right in, and I hope that you enjoy. Welcome, Miss Maimah. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hi, Gabrielle. Thanks for having me. I'm so honored to be interviewed by you.
I love you so much. I love Ms. Maimah. She is awesome. She is like an aunt to me. I love her. And I'm so excited to have you on the show. You do just incredible amount of things for people, not even just for yourself, but for the people in your life, for your daughter, and then the people and the women that, you've only met for the first time, but you just do so much for people. And I think your story is so empowering and so encouraging and inspiring. And I'm excited for my audience, for the people that haven't heard your story yet, to hear it and to learn about you.
Well, I'm honored. So yeah, just ask away.
All right, well, we are going to jump straight into your story, your beginnings. And, I've definitely say, from learning about, what you've been through, I remember hearing it for the first time years ago. But I was so shocked to hear all the different aspects, the struggles that you really had to push through in your life and things that you have survived through in your life, and then seeing who you are today. It's like, how is that the connection? How is that possible? You are just such a ball of energy and brightness and spirit, and it's like, how have you, how did you go through that and be who you are today? So I really want to start off by learning or telling our audience a bit about your story, sharing those things, those struggles that you went through, and then also telling us about how you created this life for yourself, this life for your daughter, and what gave you this energy to be able to give back in the way that you do now?
Well, in one short answer, I would say God. So I had a talk with God when I was 8 years old. I had a dream one night, and in my dream, I was having a chat with God. We were in this cave, and the love I felt around me was so powerful and so beautiful. And he told me that my life would be filled with challenges, but that whatever I went through, to know I would never be alone. And to always know I could talk to him. And so when you and God connect at that level, at that age, like for me, it was profound because my entire life was based on that conversation. I had no idea that months later, where I was born, my country I lived in, Liberia, would be going to an outbreak of war. And when that war broke out, my father was imprisoned. My whole life changed. My mother had to go rescue my dad. But my dad actually sacrificed himself because they put an announcement out on the radio saying there was a meeting, but it's really a trap. And my dad knew if he didn't go to the meeting, they would come looking for us. So he sacrificed himself for his family. My mom and my brothers went into hiding. And then my mom told her friend, my husband's been gone for a few days. If I don't go find him, he may not survive. And so she went and rescued my dad. So imagine at a young age, talking to God, having my parents then teach me the importance of sacrifice and love. And so those things really shaped my life.
Yeah.
We had a second war in 1985. And then in 89, when the third war happened, my father packed my suitcase, told me, he's like, pack your suitcase. And then he put me on a plane alone at 15 years old to come to the States by myself.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, but I look back to that conversation that God and I had, and he told me I would have challenges, and he told me to always remember that whatever happened, to not know I would not be alone, and to always talk to him.
Yeah.
And so when you have God as your anchor, like God is everything. He's the biggest light. He's the biggest ball of energy. I mean, God is a hope, faith, belief, vision. I mean, so that conversation, that energy, I believe, is part of who I am. And so whatever happened, I always went back to, okay, God told me things might happen. Yeah. God told me I'd never be alone. But also I knew that he was telling me to represent him in the world. And what is God? He's love.
Yeah.
He's hope. He's understanding. He's compassion. And so no matter what life threw my way, I always went back to how would God want me to represent him and be his light in the world. And so I didn't mention, I also was hit by lightning at 12 years old.
Yeah.
And I had a near-death experience.
Wow.
But so again, so I had a near-death experience, and I was back in Liberia, and I was on the phone. My mom said, "It's raining and thundering. Get off the phone." And I'm like, "Oh my God, Mom's so annoying." How moms can be. And there's some boy I liked that my friends and I were talking about. So I was like, she's like, "Put the phone down." So I was like, "Fine." I put the phone down and walked away, and it rang. So I went back to answer it, and then the lightning knocked me out. And I remember looking at myself like seeing myself out of my own body, like looking and feeling this utter peace and not feeling nothing.
So you
And
rose out of your body and you were able to see yourself.
I saw myself entangled in the wires, but it wasn't my time to die, and I knew it wasn't my time to go. And then I was back, like I was awake, and my ear was throbbing.
Wow.
And what was really powerful, I was wearing a necklace. I think it's either a cross or the Star of David on my neck, on my as a pendant. And when I came from the hospital later on that evening, that symbol was like, on my chest because of the lightning, and it's long since faded. But to me, it was like God saying, I'm with you. I'm here. I want you to be my emissary in the world. And that's kind of how I've always seen myself, as being one of God's, like not like earth emissary, earth angels, to do what I can to make the world a better place
like a
for other
disciple,
people.
so to speak, right?
A disciple, yeah. I mean, I'm no angel, trust me. maybe I'm naughty one, but I want to be one of God's, one of His disciples, and be what I can be to show people that God wants more for us. That we have to change the world, make it a better place, and that just the fact that we're breathing and our hearts are beating means that we have to make a difference in this world. And at the crux of that, I believe that love is a warrior's sword. And I'm a warrior. And so I want to change the world through love.
That's incredible. And you really are doing that. You started an organization, Tiger Lily Foundation, nonprofit, where you are helping women, before, during, and after breast cancer, with education and empowerment. But you started this organization while you were going through breast cancer yourself, and it was an aggressive cancer, right? I mean, that right there, that's already so powerful. You're thinking about, right now, I'm going through this suffering, I'm going through this struggle, and never mind myself, let me just help whoever else is going through this as well. I think that's so unique. Not a lot of people will think that way, and I think that's incredible. And
there's a quote that I love by Miriam Rice Edelman, and it says, "Service is the rent we pay for a living." Right? I love that quote because, everybody said to me at the time, "You're sick. You have cancer." But the fact that I was alive, like my rent for being alive still was to serve other people. Yeah. So after I got through the fact that, oh my God, I have cancer, I thought, oh my God, I'm alive. I'm still here, forget being bald, forget the throwing up, forget the chemo. I mean, of course it wasn't easy, Gabrielle, but service isn't an easy path. Being a disciple, being a warrior is not an easy path. But I knew there are people there who needed to be touched by my message of love and of empowerment, of healing during breast cancer. And who need to be transformed, and to know that they were not a victim of this disease, but could be a victor during and after breast cancer. So my message couldn't wait till I was better. Yeah. And I just started. This is why I always go back to God. He's so amazing, because I look back now, I don't know how I had the strength to do that during that process.
That has to be hard.
Sick. I was sick as to pieces. Yeah. My daughter Noelle was 3 years old. I'm a single mother. I was working full time. And so I don't know how I did it, but that's where God steps in. That's where faith steps in. That's where vision steps in. And that's where belief in something bigger than you steps in. And so honestly, like same thing, like I said before, I just took God's hand and said, talk to me, guide me, tell me where I should go, and then it just grew. Excuse me. Yeah.
And it just grew. Yeah. I look at that, and I look at, your story, and it wasn't even just, let me just, give them money, so they can help them get through it. It was like, you're empowering and you're educating in a way for these women that they needed even more, I think, than the money. They needed that mental buildup. They needed that hope, again, that structure that they might have lost throughout this whole process. And I love that that's the way that you were thinking, that, you're going through that you wanted to touch them in the way that you felt you needed to be touched, in the way that you felt that they needed it. And I love that ability that you have to really be able to put yourself where another person is, and to give in a way that's just so specific to them. And I think that's really powerful.
We have to be the example we seek in the world. Yeah. And that to me, it meant more than writing a check or just, having it in one event. It meant I needed to be the person that would get up out of bed, my sick bed, and walk and say, you can do this too. You can get out of bed, you can move forward. I felt like a firefighter. I had to go back in the trenches because it's hard to do that every day. I still do this work now, and I'm 11 years out, but there are women who are still in need. So it's like, it's like I came out of this fire, but I was going back in, even while I was still, dealing with my own situation of dealing with cancer. But I still go back in. I still want to see who's in the house. Like, who can I pull out? Who can I help to rescue, heal, transform, inspire?
Right.
And the thing about it is, as human beings, we have a vision, but here's our vision. And then here is God's vision for us. It's so huge.
Yeah.
So I thought I'm going to help a few people and see what happens. And God was like, we'll see about a few.
We'll see about that. I love that.
We'll see about your whole career plans that you have for yourself,
Right. It's so much bigger than us.
Yeah, it's so much bigger than us, but you have to take the first step. I tell people all the time, just take the first step. Like, faith is about believing in what you don't see.
Yeah.
And so I had no idea that this would have grown to be at this point. I had no idea that I would write a book or meet Oprah or have my own podcast or launch events. I just said, God, I want you to use me for your own edification to help other women going through breast cancer. And 11 years later, here I am.
And I mean, okay, so this actually goes into my next question about your, at least kind of more conversation, so to speak. But I was looking at your story. There's something about you that I completely relate to. And, it still, of course, shines through today. But how when you were younger, you always felt you had this connection to something and this understanding of the world in ways that many people don't. And, it wasn't just like this physical connection, like, no, this is a glass, I know that. No, it was this spiritual connection that you had with the world, this, this knowing of things that people, when the full-grown adults wouldn't know or understand. I mean, never mind kids your own age. And I completely understand that. Like, I 100% relate to that. I've always felt like, from such a young age, I've always felt like I was very different from basically everybody that I kind of interacted with, in the sense that there was this weird sense of distance, so to speak. I would be able to relate to them and talk to them and be with them, but it always felt like, I don't know, it always felt like it was something different between myself, especially kids my own age. I was able to talk to adults so much more easier, I was so much able to talk to like older people, but for kids it always felt like, I don't know, it always just felt so different, felt so distant. And that was very hard for me because, and it still is, because when you feel like you're supposed to be, this age, you're supposed to be connecting in this way, and like that's how you're supposed to be talking to people. You just kind of feel like, what's wrong with you? What's your issue? And it really wasn't until I started getting into the business and started meeting other people like yourself that are kind of different, that do think differently, that are able to connect with people and with the world in ways that many other people aren't able to, that I was able to see how valuable this gift was, that it really was a gift, and that it could really be cultivated and grown to be something special and to impact people. So I really wanted to learn more about, how you felt when you were younger, when you were feeling these feelings, these connections that you had, and how you were able to cultivate and develop it to utilize it to this day.
Well, first I want to say, when I first met you, I think you were 9 or 10, and I saw you and I said, I know her. Like, I don't mean I know you. I mean, I felt the same connection because I'm like, she's one of me. She's one of us. And you know what I mean? Because people like you are so rare, and me, and it's, I don't mean everybody's special, but when you're born where you talk to God and you're here for a purpose, but you know things, you feel things, you intuit things. People come into your space, you can tell their energy before they even talk. Like, I knew things before they happened sometimes. I could feel things, and I was like, I don't know what it was, but I felt so connected with the entire world, but yet so different and so far away from other people.
You're preaching to the choir right now.
And I'm like, everybody's so different from me. Aren't they seeing what I'm seeing? Aren't they feeling what I'm feeling? And I had different dreams, but so I was always alone as a kid. I mean, my friends would go to parties, I wasn't always invited. Or if I went, I bring a book or a journal. So they'd be like dancing, and I have a little book. My parents would be like, put the book down, go talk to your friends. But I'm like, what they're doing doesn't really interest me. I don't want to discuss boys and gossip. I want to think about the world and how I can make it different. And I want to read a book and go to Russia in my mind, or I want to be in Africa with these I was thinking way different.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think about soul and spirituality at 8, 9, 10. Who does that? And so I could talk to adults who are in their 50s and 60s, and I'd be like, oh my God, I love this conversation. But I just, for some reason, I never felt odd about it. I knew I was different. I knew I was weird. And, but I just was okay with that. I just knew that I like myself because I like who I am. I don't want to change. And I had a connection to God that was so powerful that I felt alone, but not alone. I can't really explain what that means.
No, yeah, get it.
And so I just felt like I was going to wait my time. I was going to just wait it out and wait till I figured out who I was, what I was supposed to be. But I used the time to cultivate my friendship with God. I wrote a lot. I went for walks. I spent a lot of time alone. And I began to order books that were about intuitiveness and spirituality. And my parents would be like, what's this in the mail? What's this book? You're 12. Why are you reading about physics and out of body experiences? But I knew from a young age that this is only a shell. I knew this at like 10, 12, 13 years old. So if my body's only a shell, my spiritual self is way bigger than just this physical place or this room or this country or this world. So I was feeling things like that, but didn't know how to articulate them. And so I was always asking questions and writing things down and asking God to put people in my space and have me experience things that would help me to cultivate and grow this knowingness that I didn't really know. You know what I mean? I didn't know what I knew, but I knew there was more than I mentally knew. Does that make sense to you?
Yes. It makes so much sense.
And so then, right, I know you understand. And so I'm like, are there other people there like me? Like I was looking for them, and I really couldn't find people like me. I had very few friends. So I was just alone a lot and sometimes lonely and sad, but that was okay. And then when I got hit by, when I got hit by lightning, people think I'm nuts for saying this actually, but I'm like, oh, okay, so I could be out of my body. This is super cool. I really got, I'm like, okay, this could really happen. The lightning part was painful, but I'm like, okay, it really could happen. And I thought I wasn't crazy.
Right.
And then I was back in myself, and then I thought, okay, that was so amazingly freaky and wow. So I want to understand how I can expand my energy beyond just this house. I'm like 12 years old now. So I'm thinking, how do I expand my energy beyond this house? And who can I change and impact? So I meet people and I would look at them and I connect with them and they would connect with me. So I began to kind of play with my energy like that, but I still didn't know my why. And not till I got breast cancer, then I realized somehow going through breast cancer and facing my mortality, I realized I gotta figure this out like now. So I got on my knees, I would pray to God. And then one day I just was in the bathtub crying. I'm like, okay, I'm bald, I'm scared, I'm sick. Like, God, I've been asking you for my entire life to show me, break me open and tell me what to do with this life, all these feelings and this all being so different. And my answer was, I want you to love people who are sick. I want you to be what you know you can be. Break open. You break open. I don't have to break you open. You do it. Be brave enough to be your weird, awkward, loving, zen, connected, spiritual self. Just be that person. But, one reason why I'm so proud of you is that you're not afraid to be that. You're at your age. I was afraid to shine that in that way. I thought it was too much. And so when I first began Tiger Lily, I began this national nonprofit for breast cancer awareness for young women. People were like, what is this doing? Is it about breast cancer or about loving people and transformation? And I said all of that. And there was no breast cancer foundation talking about love and transformation and hope and evolution. So it was kind of, people were thinking I was kind of weird, but I thought, okay, this is what I'm meant to be doing. And like I said before, for taking those steps of building Tiger Lily, somehow, as I walked into the path, the road before me opened up, and God kind of gave me this confidence in myself to be different on the outside in every way. But I will tell you, it was very lonely growing up because there was nobody my age who was like me. But what's really fun now is that I have people that were bullies to me or would tease me when I was a kid tell me now, like, you're my hero. Like, you did what we couldn't do. You weren't afraid to be different and be alone. right?
Yeah.
And so I can empower other people who are like us, who are kind of either hiding or afraid to kind of come out, break open. I want to inspire them to break open, but I'm also finding there are other unicorns like us out there who I want to inspire to let their inner unicorn, show and come out.
And that is really what you're doing now. I mean, I definitely want to take time to talk about this idea that you've really developed, which is I Manifest Bliss, where you're working with women, you're working with people to help them to almost identify their bliss, develop the bliss in their lives, to figure out what it is within themselves that they can let go of and let shine. And I love that, because that really does, it just goes hand in hand with what I'm doing here with UV, and the importance of allowing those differences that we all have to really take the light in who we are. I know it is really hard nowadays, especially now. I think as the generations continue to come, it just seems like there's more and more of this idea that we're supposed to conform and be the same and not be different. And it just gets harder and harder for people to break free and to be themselves, because it's just constantly, oh, don't do that. Like, it's not necessary. Don't try that. We don't really relate to that. And so I love what you're doing with, I Manifest Bliss. I mean, you have, do coaching, you have the podcast. I mean, but even though, this is years ago, you had your book Fearless, which is already very inspiring. It still had those hints, those notes of what you're talking about today. But, and then you have the I Manifest Bliss event that's coming up as well. I just want you to talk about your message of bliss and I Manifest Bliss, why this is important for you, and then also the things that you're doing with it.
Well, there's so many parts of it, because part of it is that people like you and I, we knew at a young age who we were. We knew that we had a connection to bigger things and bigger energies, and we had this knowingness. Everyone doesn't know that. People wonder their whole lives, who they are, why they're here, what they're meant to be doing. And so I think we all kind of have a knowingness in a sense, but some people are afraid to not conform.
Absolutely.
They're afraid to be different. They're afraid to be a unicorn, and to stand out and be a Gabrielle or a Maimah or whoever,
Themselves.
And so be themselves.
Yeah.
We're all unicorns, but we're not all we don't always have the toolkits that we need to be that person. So, and a lot of people are lonely. They're scared. They're living with depression, anxiety. They're working a 9-to-5 job they can't stand. They're going to work in that job till they turn 59 and a half, retire, and live on a beach, and then on a beach or in Florida, and then they're going to die. Like, that is so, to me, that's sad.
Yeah.
People have so much to live, and this life has so much to offer.
So much potential.
So, yes. Yeah. And so I Manifest Bliss is a way to get people to come together, to form a tribe of like-minded soul purpose seekers, and to kind of break open, to heal and transform, and to figure out what their bliss is. And so whatever your bliss is, discover that bliss, or define it, feel it, outline what it looks like, create a vision, and living that bliss is so important. And I think we also tend to invest money in things, not in our self-development. Yeah. If you ask the average person, how much money do you spend on your mortgage or your car? They'll say, oh yeah, I'm going to pay these bills or whatever. But if you ask them, what would you spend? Would you spend $2,000 on a seminar for self-improvement? Well, I can't really afford that right now. It's not my budget, right? Or I can't take out a day for a class.
Right.
And so I'm telling people, no, you are your biggest investment.
Yeah.
Your soul, your life, this one life you have is your biggest investment, because this body is your temple that houses your spirit, and is here for one time. Yeah. So I Manifest Bliss is really about getting people to think about the fact that you're unique. You have value. What is that value you're here to bring to the world, and how do you manifest that? Yeah. And so the idea came about because I was thinking, I have all these friends that always call me for advice, and they call me for energy. I'm always like inspiring them, and I'm like, you know what, you're a lot of work. I should start charging you guys. And I was like, maybe I should have an event to get people together who are like my friends and their friends, and then offer them, maybe have a panel discussion with people who are living that soul purpose life, and to inspire other people. And so the first event was more of an experiment to see who would come. And then I thought I'd just have about, 30 people, and it was almost twice the size that I was expecting. And I literally advertised it in 3 weeks on Facebook. Wow. I didn't do it. That was all I did. And so people were like, when's the next I Manifest Bliss event? And I thought, I haven't gotten that far yet. so I kind of stepped back and I said, okay, God, I see what you're doing here. Mm-hmm. And really my whole cancer experience was bringing me towards breaking open in the sense of helping people figure out what their bliss is. And so this, like, breast cancer broke me open a little bit, but God wanted more for me. And so now the Bliss event is really inspiring people to live again, uncover and expand and grow. Yeah. And I'll be having them every quarter. So the first one was a smaller, more intimate event. This one's going to be bigger. The next one's going to be September 22nd at Tower Club. And then I'll have one in December and going forward every quarter. And then my goal is to go national with them.
I definitely can see it because I think, like, when I think of bliss, I think of, joy and everything. And then, so I love that, almost like that message is really about defining and figuring out what that joy is for you in your life and then utilizing that, making that your reality, right? And I think that is so important. I think so many people look for comfort, right? They look for safety, which is understandable because a lot of people come from different backgrounds and maybe that's where they have to go. But I think in everything and anything that you do, there has to be some kind of joy in it. There has to be some kind of love in it.
Well,
so
and
utilizing it, yeah.
Well, and because of what I've been through, like I said, the wars were very traumatic for me. And I if I let those wars and being held at gunpoint and being hit by lightning and cancer transform me and change me to be a victim kind of person, I would never be who I am today. So I always choose joy. I always choose higher. I always choose to vibrate higher. Yeah. And people are going through, the world's changing so much right now. There are a lot of things that are not positive in the world. So you have to always choose joy. You have to choose what's the better, most highest, what's the highest feeling that you want to be at, and put your vision at that place. Yeah. And then also joy could be just being content. I feel too that our world's become very materialistic. People want more and more and more. Yes. You get this, you want the next thing, and there's these people on Instagram who are taking all these selfies and they have hot bodies, and people always they want to be that girl. Yeah. And what if bliss meant being content with who you are? Yeah. What if bliss meant being content with your heart beating? Being content with your breath? Yeah. Being content that you get to open your eyes in the morning and still be here. Yeah. And so when we have the Bliss course, when we have the event, the first thing we do is an exercise that gets people to be present, right? And forget about the outside world. And to be grateful for the fact that they still get to be here in this room. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we start from there, and then we expand on different topics, whether it's relationships, children, learning to appreciate who you are. We have different topics we hit on, but it starts with a place of being grateful for this space. Right?
Yeah. I mean, you look at some of the most successful people in the world. You look at how you see their story and you hear what they tell about, and they never say that their first thought was I want to be rich or I want to have a nice beach. It was because they started out of this idea of something that they love. They started out of this creation, this something that popped into their minds, something a gift that was given to them. It was almost like this very not humble but very what's the word I'm looking for? I'm blanking on the word, but it's basically, it wasn't like they weren't trying to become this big thing just because everybody else is there or because they see how much money they could make or how much land they could own or whatever. It's because they wanted to take the joy that they had, the love that they had for this thing, this opportunity, this whatever it was, and it happened to turn into other things because of God, because of how they
exactly
their lives. So I definitely believe that that's where it has to start. Anything has to start with that joy.
Well, yeah, I just wanted to serve other people. For me, I'm a servant leader. Yeah. So my vision when I was in treatment and chemotherapy was, oh my God, how can I help women who are sick and dying to live while they're sick? Yeah. How can I help them to be awakened and transformed during breast cancer? When I Googled breast cancer support when I was in treatment, all I saw was support groups. People were in there in chat rooms depressed and scared. I didn't see much about hope or about living through breast cancer, or what about the fact that this could be a catalyst for making you awaken, right? Yeah. Really awaken. So what if the focus was not on cancer, but on how to restore somebody's spirit during treatment? What a novel idea.
Yeah, honestly, I
and so I thought that really made me feel excited about my vision was okay, how do I help to infuse this into the whole breast cancer experience? And so I began to go out without wearing my wig. I began talking about cancer and how God had transformed my life and my spirit through this whole experience. Because people don't always survive, breast cancer. But what if these challenges in life, whether it's cancer, divorce, whatever it is, what if your challenges could be a gift?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, no one's getting out of here alive. Yeah. They are gifts. Yeah. So what if you use the challenge of cancer or whatever as a gift and not see it as this thing that is bad?
Yeah.
And so when you approach life using your challenges as gifts, every challenge can be, in a way, sometimes exciting. Yeah. I mean, so when things happen to me now that I don't like, I'm like, damn, I don't like that. But, oh my God, what does this mean for the next step for my life? How is God going to mold me and shape me during this time so I can better serve the world and serve God? And so when your mindset and perspective shifts like that, then life becomes much more, you become much more like running water, where it just flows. You're not pushing against things. You're being open to letting God do his work in your life. And so, but again, like you said earlier, I never, ever would have thought it would have come to this.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd be a year out and have Oprah call me, her staff call me and say, are you free next week?
Yeah, and then be on there twice. You were on there twice. Yeah.
I mean, and then she said, do you have a book? And that's how the book came out. And so, like, it's all about taking the first step. And you take but it has to always be born out of love, right? For what you're doing and who you want to help. It's never really about you. And I think that a servant leader should be somebody who says, how can I help you? And when your hand's open to give, so much more does come back that you don't expect, and better things than you expect.
So one thing I do want to talk about, I talk about this for every person that has like an adult that's on the show that has like a kid. I normally like to learn.
I'm not an adult though.
You're not an adult.
I'm not an adult yet.
You don't look like one. You look so young.
She's like, Mommy, just grow up already.
Well, every kid that has a daughter or a kid on the show, or so every young person or anyone that has. Right.
I'll take the word adult for now.
Okay, just to make it simpler. But to look at you as like, you're like my sister. But every person that has like a kid on the show or anything, or they have a child or children, I like to talk about them. Like to talk about that journey for them, and so like what they taught them or what they're teaching them now. And so I know you have a daughter, Noelle, and you were talking about how she was really going. I know you.
Right?
I mean, you guys' love is incredible. I love it, and I just like I looked at your story, and as I learned about you, of course, from the moment that I met you, and you of course love that girl. It's incredible. But I got to learn a lot about how she was really there side by side with you through your process. As you were going through breast cancer, and I think that's incredible. Because she did really get to see a lot of strength and courage that you had when you're pushing through this, when you started Tiger Lily. And that's what I see when I see, a young girl being able to see, even though it's hard, I would imagine it's incredibly hard to see your mother like that. But, with you really embodied so much strength through it, and I think that's even more incredible for your daughter to be able to see. And so as I look at her, she has the pajama glam that she does every year, and it grows every single year. It's incredible. The way these girls are there for education and health and everything. I love that. And then also, when you post online and you post on social media, you're just always encouraging her to just be herself and to have that self-love. And I think that's so impeccable, and there just needs to be more of that in the world, where parents are encouraging their kids to not just hide or just to do what they're told or just to do whatever. I mean, still of course do what you're told, but to also have a mind to have a mind of your own, to think, to be, and to express. And I love that. But I want to know, there's two questions in this. First, what is something about yourself that you hope that she will learn from and hopefully take on for herself?
God, there's so many things. I don't mean in a vain sense. I mean that there's so many things you're like, yeah, okay, Maimah. No, but I just feel like I want her to have a sense of connection with God. That's the biggest thing I want her to ever have, because it's all she needs.
Yeah.
And once you have that connection with God, then everything is possible. Because like you said earlier, when we first began talking, I've always had a knowingness that I was here for a purpose and that I wasn't alone, and that even I may not have all the answers, but because I am so in touch with God, He would give me the answers, or she would give me the answers. And so I wanted to have that, for one, and I wanted to have a curiosity about life. Just when you're curious about life and you ask questions about people and life, your life expands. If you accept the status quo, your life will never change. But if you're always asking about people, like, what's on your mind? Why'd you say that? What is she thinking? Why is this happening? How can I make that better or different? If you're asking questions about the world and you're curious, you're always going to be a big child, for one, but you're also always going to want to make things better. And you want to accept things as they are. I never accepted that where I was in my life, whether I was a refugee with no money, with my parents living here with nothing, or whether it was me cleaning the bathrooms for a job, or even as a cancer patient. I never accepted that was my status quo. I always said, this is where I am right now as a human body, but my spiritual self is, what is the lesson in this situation? And that comes from being curious about the what if. So I always ask her to ask herself, what if? What if? If you ask yourself, what if? I mean, they open a whole other set of possibilities in the world.
Questions. This is the best way to learn. I love that, always asking questions. I love that you said that, because I think that is important. People kind of, I think when you get older, you kind of take yourself too seriously. A lot of people do. Like, you think, like,
you get comfortable.
Exactly. I think, like, yeah, I mean, I think it's what's really great about you is that, you're, still curious. Like, even though, I mean, you're an adult, you're not really an adult, but you're, like, you are still, like, you're youthful in the sense that you're curious and that you still ask questions. I think that's what people need to continue to do, because we never know everything.
Well, I believe that you can get older, but you don't have to age. A lot of my friends act so freaking old. I'm like, you make me tired. Like, why are you so tiring? You're exhausting. Seriously.
I honestly think I'll always be a kid too. I think so.
You will, I could tell, but I mean, like, I have some friends who, and it's okay to be, 9-to-5 job, that's fine, but they go to the job and they come home and they have dinner, and they watch TV, and then they go to bed, and it's like, that's all you think life's about? Like, I'm up at 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to run 5 miles in the morning, do some weights. Before people get to work, I've done, like, emails and a proposal out.
Right.
And then they say that I make them tired, but I just want to soak up life and enjoy it. There's so much to look at. Like, if you look outside your window, like I'm looking outside right now, there's all these trees. Each leaf is different. Like, I love that. I love everything about life. People that are out walking around, everybody's different. They're like, God made your nose is like different than my nose. Your eyebrows, your smile, like when you smile, like everyone's so beautiful. And when you look at life and you appreciate things deeply, it just makes life so much more beautiful.
It really
and
does.
So I want Noelle to have that appreciation for everything in life, and that zest, and that, don't live life like this. Live life like this.
Right,
what I mean? Like, so, and then also I always tell her to have time to talk to herself, time to nurture herself.
I love that.
I feel like when you're an entrepreneur and when you're multi-projected, I just made that word up.
It works so well.
I know I could have passed it off. But when you're doing like 10,000 things and they're all fun, it's important to find time to restore yourself. And so I'm a big proponent of self-care. I have regular Maimah days where I just shut down and I have my onesie on and I don't bathe or go out. I just eat and sleep and rest. So I think self-care is important, and also last but not least, you have to play. You have to play. Like like if it's raining, go outside and get wet. I have bubbles all over my house. I love bubbles, like little bubbles. I blow them all the time. I put on music and I dance. I joke a lot. I mean, I just think it's fun to live and to really enjoy this life, because it's fleeting and it comes and it goes. So I always want to inspire my daughter to play and not take life seriously, and remember that, remember that she is infinite possibility. Like, she, by her own existence, is God giving her infinite possibility, and just to live that every day.
And so what about her? This is the second question. What about her do you hope that she, like, when you see her, is there something in her that you hope that she will continue to cultivate, or that she will grow? Like, there's something in her that you think is special and that you hope that she will continue to grow within herself?
I feel, so to be honest, I feel like having a mom like means a little bit, sometimes it's a bit of a double-edged sword. Because when you have your daughter, you'll see, because your child sees you and you're doing all these different things. And so part of them things, I know she does, should I be like my mom and do those things she's doing?
Yeah.
And I always say to her, no, do not be like me. Be yourself. And she says, well, I don't have a lot of talent. So I don't have any I don't speak in public. I'm like, yes, you do. And she'll say, I don't have a book yet. I'm like, but you have 10,000 books inside of you. And so I just encourage her to be herself. And Noelle's gift, her gift is compassion. She's very compassionate. So if you'd asked me when I was a child what gift I had, I would have said I don't have any gifts. But my gift was immense, boundless love for other people. Love was my gift. Yeah. And so I told her, you don't have to be to play an instrument or a sport. I said to her, your gift is your heart. So just keep your heart pure and open, and then God will guide you. So for me, her gift is not tangible. It's just that compassion. Yeah. So I want to see where God's going to guide her to use that gift. Part of it's working with Tiger Lily, but I think it's her own thing as well. And as she grows, she'll figure out what her thing is. Right. So she's very loving. She's very compassionate. She's very, very, very kind young girl, young woman, young girl still. Yes. So just kind of telling her to follow her own dreams. Don't follow my footsteps. Yeah. And to dream. And so right now I love seeing her she spends time by herself. She journals a lot. She's always thinking about things. And so I don't know what that one thing is per se, like a tangible thing, but I know that she has this huge fire, yellow, bright energy that I want to see grow. And so I'm cultivating that virtue in her and that energy in her life.
That's wonderful, and that's just the message that does constantly need to be shared, and I love that you're telling her, don't follow my footsteps. I love that. I think that's incredible. I want to thank you so much, Miss Maimah, for joining me and just really sharing. No, I actually, before you go, I do want to give you an opportunity to talk about.
I had so much fun with this.
I know, it was really good. It was so great. I sometimes I have these like interviews where it's just like, I really connect with the person that I'm talking to, and like you're definitely one of those people. Of course, I mean, since I've met you, you've always been that kind of person for me. Like somebody I can relate to, and I understand, and so it was just so great to be able to talk to you and to be able to share your message here on the podcast. And before we go, I do want to give you a chance to say, is there anything else that you want to share? Anything new coming up for you that you'd like to let my audience know about?
God, I have so many things going on, but the I Manifest Bliss event is going to be awesome. The next one's coming up September 22nd at Tower Club. Okay. I'm working on book number 2, which is going to be coming. I'm working on getting that done. I probably will have it out by next spring. Okay. It's going to be about, surprise, surprise, manifesting bliss. And I have a couple of projects. I can't discuss all the projects because there's some that are still in development right now, but just growing Tiger Lily, growing the Bliss brand, and helping people to just kind of uncover, live, and to manifest the best person they can be. That's my goal over the next, my lifetime.
Yeah. So. If anybody else you guys are listening, if there's anything else that you want to learn about Miss Maimah, you want to see what she's talking about with I Manifest Bliss, you want to learn more about Tiger Lily Foundation, anything, all the links will be down below to her website and Tiger Lily website as well. Also, we'll have, your book and everything linked down below. So definitely be sure to click those links. Check her out. She's so inspiring. She's a wonderful person. I mean, if you just listening to her, you just get this energy. You just kind of get this motivation, just be like, get up and do more today. And just, it's just so
fantastic. About you. You're so amazing. I'm so proud of you. I remember meeting you at Jam Glam party. I think it was 5 years ago. And you were this little thing, and you had your book or jewelry or both. And I'm like, oh my God, I love this little girl. And now you're just a beautiful young woman, and you're so amazing. I'm just so proud of you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm proud of you too. I mean, gosh, I just love watching what you're doing, and I really appreciate you being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining me for another episode of the UV Effect. I hope that you enjoyed this interview with Miss Maimah Karmo. If you're listening to this podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, or Stitchers, before you go, please make sure to subscribe and then head over to GabrielleJordanInspires.com/014. That's GabrielleJordanInspires.com/014 to check out all of Miss Maimah's links to her website, Tirely Foundation, her book, the upcoming conference event, I Manifest Bliss. All of that will be on that page. Also, one new thing that's happening or that we have is we have an Instagram account for the UV Effect now. Yay! So just go to Instagram, type in the UV Effect, and you'll find us and you can follow us there. We post things about our guests, we post quotes, we post fun little clips and snips from the interviewing process, things like that. It's a lot of fun, and I hope that you will join us over there as well. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you, well, you will hear me next week. See you then. Or hear you then. You'll hear me then. Bye.